ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. In many societies, including in Jewish society, the firstborn has certain privileges. Jewish tradition gives him a double portion in the inheritance of the father, for instance. We see, for instance, that the first patriarch, the founder of the Jewish people, Abraham, was the firstborn of his father Terah. So firstborn is something very important. Yet, when it comes to the second generation, Yitzchak is not the firstborn of Abraham. Abraham had another wife. Her name was Hagar, because his wife Sarah could not have any children. So she said to him, you know what? Go marry my servant Hagar, and her child, the child that you will have together, will be like my own. So Yishmael is born. It's only later that Sarah becomes pregnant and she gives birth to Yitzchak. So Yitzchak is not the firstborn of Abraham. I don't know, I think that there's something going on here. We are sort of trying to put aside the firstborn. He's not that important. Take a look at the third patriarch. We don't even know who is the firstborn. It isn't very clear, because the mother, Rivka, had difficulty in giving birth, and she went to inquire what's going on. She was told, you know what? The problem is that you have twins inside, and they're born at the same time, really. Esav comes first into this world, but his brother is holding on to him right after him. It's one birth, Esav and Yaakov at the same time. It's a matter of split second. It's not a question of minutes, of hours, or days. Who is the firstborn? The firstborn isn't so clear. And take a look among the children of Jacob, of Yaakov. The oldest, the firstborn, is Reuben, but he's not the leader of the brothers. Yosef, who was the firstborn of another wife, not the firstborn of Yaakov, but the firstborn of Rachel, he becomes a leader in Egypt. But the leader of the brothers is neither of them. The leader of the brothers becomes Yehudah, somebody altogether different. He was actually the fourth son of the first wife, Leah. Maybe there's a rebellion in Jewish tradition against the firstborn. What they're trying to tell you is the fact that you were born first doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to become the leader of society. There are other traits that are more important. There is an episode in the Bible that is very difficult to understand. Yaakov is sitting next to his home. He's preparing lentils, soup of lentils. Esav comes very tired, and Esav says, give me a little bit of what you're cooking. And he says, I'll give it to you, but if you sell me the rights of the firstborn. I'm not going to go into the ethics of this discussion, but how can you sell the rights of being the firstborn? Esav says to himself, what do I need this for anyway? Did Yaakov really think that by giving him a little bit of soup, he is going to have the rights of the firstborn? Maybe what he was trying to say is, you know what? This whole idea of firstborn isn't really that important. There are other things that are more important. He disguises himself as if he were his brother, and he brings food to the ancient father, who before dying wants to give his blessings to his firstborn, Esav. And he fools the father. How can you do that? What was the purpose of doing it? Maybe the purpose was to say, you know, you think that being firstborn is so important. I can put on different clothes, talk a different way, and I can fool you. Being the firstborn isn't that important. What is important is something else. It's decision. It's being constant. So I tell you, maybe you weren't born as the firstborn in your family. Maybe you don't come from a family where there's a lot of erudition. Maybe you don't come from a wealthy family. That doesn't mean that you cannot, through your own actions, through your own endeavor, by being very constant, by not giving up, that you cannot achieve any goal that you want in your life. So make sure, don't look for excuses outside. Make sure that you are loyal to what your own capabilities are, and I'm sure there are no limits to them.